Hey, NOSA community, it is Shamika and I am back, and I'm going to chit chat with you guys just a little bit before we get started on our topic tonight. And our topic is about recruiting. So if you, hey, NOSA community, it's Shamika and I'm back, and I'm just jumping in a little bit earlier. Let's put these on to help me out to talk about our topic today, which is recruiting. So if you are interested, okay. So if you have any questions about recruiting and how to hire the right person for your particular agency around recruiting, but mostly we'll be focusing in on pay. So there was a question. That I'll be answering and kind of giving my take and a little bit of input from you guys as far as how you should pay recruiters. So that's the question of the night. That's our Talk About It Tuesday question. And that's where I'll be focusing. But until we get till 8:30, we will be give me a second, guys. Okay. So if you have questions or comments already, feel free to drop it here. We're also streaming live on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't followed us on YouTube, I would highly, highly encourage you to do so because we have a lot of great content, including this video that'll appear on our channel. We'll also be sharing it here in our Facebook group. But I wanted to give you guys a chance to ask some questions that you may have for me. And then I'll give a couple of updates about what's happening in the group. And then we will go from there. And like I said, if you don't get a chance to check out this video live, you can always catch it in replay or catch it on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is the same at THENOSAGRP. Same thing on all our social media platforms. So please feel free to follow us there to get more updates and more information. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on before we get started on our talk at 8:30 is welcome to our YouTube channel. We have finally figured it out. We have finally taken out the time to go live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, which is a real time saver, but it's also a great way to bring together those two communities. So welcome to our YouTube channel subscribers and our Facebook group members, to the NOSA group, the Nurse-Owned Staffing Agency. If you haven't, definitely take out some time to follow us on our social media platforms, especially our LinkedIn page, where we'll actually be spending a little bit more time this summer sharing some information and making connections, making links this coming summer. So we're excited about that, and a couple of upcoming events that'll be happening. So we'll be having our office hours tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. So if you have questions, as well as if you aren't able to attend the Zoom session at 12 p.m., drop your question here in the comments, and then I'll talk a little bit about it and let you know kind of my take on some of the questions that you have. But if you get a chance to join us, it'll be from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. So a little bit about how office hours work. So it's essentially what it says. So it's an opportunity for NOSAs to jump in and ask questions, more agency specific types of questions, and get my take on it as well as other agency owners. On average, we have like 8 to 10 people join, but once you get your question answered, you can jump off or you can jump on a little bit later. But essentially, I'll be hanging out on the Zoom link from 12 p.m. Eastern till 1 p.m. Eastern, kind of fielding some of the questions. And if I don't get a lot of people to join, I'll answer a question from the group that has been asked a couple of times, or that's like a burning topic type of question. So that's something that you can be a part of. And then also on April 19th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be having a presentation on trade credit insurance. So I know you're asking, you're wondering, what is trade credit insurance? I even had to ask myself that because I haven't heard of it before. But if you haven't heard of it and you're curious and you use a payroll funding company or a back office, it's probably a great presentation to join in on. I'm not going to fumble and overtalk what it is. It is connected to insurance for payroll invoicing types of things, but I'll let the experts tell you more about it so to get more information about how you may be able to use it. I think on the post that we put in the group, another member shared that they've used it. So if that particular member, any other members that have used it or familiar with it, want to join in and kind of share their experiences, that's always great. So, and then finally, a couple of updates. I've been posting a lot over the last couple of weeks, but I haven't gone live in some time. But I wanted to let you guys know, I did a post about a week or so ago about scamming. And one of the nice things about having a Facebook group or creating a Facebook group is that you get thousands of people throughout the United States. So I know that the majority of the group members here are individuals who are interested and genuinely want to grow, learn, help others. But unfortunately, there are also some individuals who aren't that way. And because we only have a limited screening process to bring people in the group, sometimes people who have ill intentions join the group. So that's happened probably for the last couple of months that I've been aware of. And one thing that I shared in the post was that I encourage you guys, even on a YouTube channel, when people are reaching out to you and connecting with you, do your due diligence. Don't just be sold by someone's conversation. You know, ask for business referrals. Ask questions. If you can't find them on the internet, the website, you can't find pictures, you can't find other companies or other reviews from individuals, those are typically red flags. In this particular instance, there was a couple of different things, but, you know, reach out to other members who you may know if they're in a specific state and saying they do work in this state. Make sure to go with your intuition. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I've expressed in the group a couple of different times around, hey, it's not really worth it majority of the time to pay for leads. So that was some of what that particular situation was about. You're better off doing it yourself. Like, you just won't get the results. And we also have another post that came into the group not too long ago around that. So you just won't get what you want because it's hard to track to see if someone placed a phone call. You know, it's hard to track to see what someone's saying when they're reaching out. So that's always tricky to really be able to quantify in a number. People can definitely make connections. You guys make connections with me. You guys make connections with other NOSAs. But from a standpoint of, hey, give me $5,000 and I'll give you 10 leads or guarantee you 10 contracts, that type of language, typically that's a red flag. That's not a good idea. And then once you give over the money, if there's no refunds, if there's no way to get, you know, compensation back to you, if they don't deliver, that's also a red flag. So those are some things to look out for. And then the second part, as far as we're concerned as an organization, is there are no people in the group besides the moderators or people that I specifically identify that are partnering with the NOSA group. There was a couple of individuals saying, oh, I work with the NOSA group. The NOSA group is small. So if you have questions or if people reach out to you with that type of language, just reach out to me. And if you can't get to me, you can reach out to any of the moderators or administrators. They can clarify it or get it to me, because we don't want you guys to spend your monies. Hey, Brittany, we don't want you guys to spend your monies on things that aren't going to add value and maybe slow down your process of getting your agency started. So those were a couple of updates and things that I wanted to share with you guys, just so that you're able to know what's been going on. As far as what we're able to do as a group, there's not much we can do. most of the people that I've been able to identify that were a part of it have been removed from the group, but with 7,000 members, it's really impossible to get to everybody. I encourage people to let me know because I'm not working as a new or existing agency owner looking for contracts. So those people aren't kind of targeting me. So if you know of something, let me know. We'll do some research. We'll make a determination at that point. But hopefully we kind of filtered through as much as we can when it came to those particular individuals so that it's not a bigger issue for you guys and it's not a financial burden. But, you know, just think about it. If you want to ask me Messenger or post in the group, let me know. I'd rather you message me through Messenger, which sometimes is kind of hides messages, or post in the group before you share your money with someone who is not going to be able to deliver what you're looking for. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like I said, I did the post, people commented on the post. In our group, I will say we're not outing any business agency, organizations, marketing companies, or anything like that. So we're not gonna do anything like that at this point, but just to kind of give everybody like a heads up to kind of be careful, look for receipts, look for reviews, ask questions, ask other NOSAs who have worked with them. And that's not always like a foolproof way, because that has been how some of the individuals have kind of perpetuated it, where they have another NOSA who may have had success reach out to you, and then it kind of starts another process. So just be careful out there, but definitely reach out to me, because unfortunately I know of quite a few of them because people have let me know. But yes, be careful, be mindful, ask questions, reach out, connect, share experiences. And just to be clear, we're not talking about like you had a bad business experience. We're actually talking about someone not delivering services or sort of, it's mostly delivering services that were promised. So like, we're not, when I'm talking about the scamming that's happened within the group, I'm not talking about, hey, I worked with Shamika and I didn't really like da 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 da. It's Shamika promised this, she delivered nothing. So just to clarify. So I use myself as the example because why not? So let's get started. Hey, Brittany. And then Jordan was also another NOSA member that dropped a question that was in that realm of recruiting. So I wanted to try to break it down as much as possible to kind of give you an idea. So we're all NOSAs. And many of us have worked with agencies outside of or before starting our own business. And we've worked with recruiters. One of the things I will say as a side note is interesting is that the pandemic really uncovered in a weird sort of way that role that healthcare recruiters play in the agency process. And I think, in my opinion, because there was some deficiencies in their role, that's kind of where the technology really came in and was able to fix something. So in my own experience as a travel nurse, I've dealt with quite a few recruiters, sometimes great experiences, sometimes not so great, but overall there's a culture when it came to healthcare recruiting and what that process looked like. So I think for a lot of NOSAs who have experienced it, their goal in starting their agency and kind of having recruiters work for them or with them is to kind of create a different type of experience for healthcare professionals when it comes to recruiting. So, all right. So feel free to drop your questions. We're live here on YouTube. We're also live here on the Facebook channel. Feel free to share this live. I'm going to do one more thing before we get started, and that's post it into the group one more time so that people can jump in. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them. So, recruiters. So when I'm talking about recruiters, just to clarify, we're just talking about recruiters in the temporary healthcare staffing space, and really just a temporary space. So recruiters operate in different roles in a more corporate setting where you're staffing for like employees, full-time permanent employees. So we're just talking about the temporary side of the industry. And one of the questions, and Brittany, if you want to drop your question too, that'd be great, because I did post it into announcements. But one of the questions was around, how do you pay recruiters? And people will be interested to know that recruiters kind of across the board get paid either, and I gave the two options, a salary, right? So that's typically your corporate recruiter, or some of your temporary staffing recruiters, which could be in any industry, get paid a salary and a commission. So within the healthcare staffing space, what I've seen, and you guys can definitely tell me if you see something different, has been that recruiters are paid a salary and a commission. And what that typically will look like would be that they're paid $25,000. And then for every person that they get into the job that's open, they'll get a percentage, or they may also get paid based on the number of hours that that person works. So I think that's really the question that people have, like how to structure that. How does it make sense? Is it a good incentive type of pay structure? And really, it can be tricky. So what I will say is it's not beneficial to you as a NOSA, especially as a small business owner, to only pay a salary, because that's not really the industry norm. Paying a salary, you probably won't get the best results because if they fill the job, if they don't fill the job, they'll still get paid, right? So just doing a salary can be tricky. And I think for people who are like experienced recruiters, the standard is a salary and a commission. Now, with that being said, if you're going to do a salary and commission, it can look a couple of different ways. So there was a post on TikTok, and I want you guys to guess with me about how much do you think healthcare staffing recruiters at like medium, large agencies make? So drop your comments below. How much do you think? How much do you think? And also on our YouTube channel, you can drop it in the comments. How much do you think healthcare staffing, and I'm just gonna put HC, recruiters make a year? Just guess. And I'm typing it here. Okay. So Brittany, you think that's total compensation, or do you think that's, is that including, oops. Would that include the commission? So I'm talking how much total compensation, and so I'll put it like that. Do you think healthcare staffing recruiters make? Make a year. And I'll probably put it up as a poll in the group to kind of gauge everybody. Okay, pay recruiters in the industry with commission. Brittany says 60 to 70. We have some people here on YouTube that are saying 70 to 80, 60 to 100, so salary and commission. Okay, so in this particular TikTok, and there wasn't like a lot of content about what agency this individual worked for or anything like that. I'm just assuming it was a medium to large size agency. And I think it's probably more accurate than we realize when we think about the numbers of it all. She was making $300,000 a year. And when you think about it, a lot of that was based on her pay structure, or how the pay structure is set up for a lot of healthcare staffing agency businesses. And we've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of recruiters to get some insight about it. So when you think about commissions and salary, if we're paying someone, say, a $20,000 salary, and I'm just going to use even numbers to help us out here, Right. So Brittany, you're right, but she brings in the talent. Right. So I'm not by far saying that she shouldn't make it. But I think it's something to think about when you're planning out and thinking about getting into the industry. Is that feasible? So two things. One, when we went out into Indeed and out into the community looking for a recruiter who was experienced, who had worked with healthcare staffing agencies, this individual was looking to make 70, 80K plus commissions. So that's kind of how we're getting there. And this was a couple of years back. I think we had maybe been in business for maybe 2 years. 2 years feels like where we were. But when you think about it, people think about salary and commission to say, hey, she's making $20,000 and then she's getting $100 for every person, like you were saying, Brittany, that she brings on board. And that's where the confusion starts for NOSAs, for us, for other people, because that's not really how it's structured. More healthcare recruiting salary structures or plans are structured like this, which also makes it easier for her to get to that number that we talked about, that 300,000. She makes $20,000, but for every hour that an employee she brings on board works, she gets $1. So if they work 40 hours, she gets $40. If they work 80 hours, she gets, so on and so forth. And then that's times 13, 14, 18, 20 employees. So I'm just using, like I said, round numbers for these purposes. These aren't the exact numbers. So with that being the case, some recruiters could have a roster of 50 to 60 employees kind of under their umbrella, right? Because as NOSAs, as former nurses or current nurses, a lot of times we stick with the same recruiter, such and such is great. They get back to me, Not only do we stick with the same recruiter, we refer to the same recruiter. So a lot of the recruiters' rosters are hundreds of employees. And that's really where she's able to get to that number. So I didn't have a chance, and I'll look at it and see if there's something that'll bring it all together, but I didn't have a chance to actually break down the numbers. But that's really what we saw when we were able to talk to a recruiter who worked for a mid-sized agency to explain it. So the person got paid a salary, and trust me, guys, it's not 20K. I was just using that as an example. Nobody's making 20K. They're making way more than that as a base salary. And then their commission structure was based on how many hours the individual worked. So every time Shamika went to work, my recruiter was paid. And then if it's Shamika and 10 of her friends, or 25 or 10 of those friends, that same one recruiter was paid. And there's nothing wrong with that, except for it can present a challenge for a NOSA. So many times as NOSAs, that's a big commitment to make, to have a recruiter come on board. And then you also have to kind of factor in the fact that when recruiters come on board into new companies, they bring all the employees from the old company, that could potentially happen to you. So like if I'm working for Brittany, right? And I'm a recruiter and I'm doing well, but for whatever reason, I decide to start working for Jordan, then many times when I leave, I'll also be taking the employees that I onboarded with me at some point. That's just the nature of how that works, because many times people value that relationship more than the loyalty to that particular company. So if they can get the same types of contracts at another agency, but work with that recruiter, they'll go. So that's a trick, or the challenge for NOSAs, is that we can't afford to pay a recruiter that type of commission and salary and then have the potential that they would leave. One, because we may not have that many recruiters. There may be like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So the impact would be larger. But there are ways to kind of work around that or create something different. And what that looks like is, instead of, and I saw this being done, instead of doing that for the recruiter, you can think about doing it for the actual referral. And I think that that's a better option for smaller agency owners because 9 times out of 10, and you guys let me know if I'm wrong, if I'm going on a contract and I have a friend, maybe in California, and she wants to go on the same type of contract and we want to travel together, we're just going to go together. I'm going to start the job. Maybe we'll start at the same time. I'll start the job, then I'll refer her to the same agency to work with me. And then we end up somewhere working together. And how that benefits you as a NOSA, or how that could benefit you, is that one, you know that, hey, Shamika's a good worker. She comes on time. She has a good attitude. So that kind of alleviates some of the, hey, would she be a good fit? Two, people kind of are with people who are similar. So if I'm this way, the person that I'm referring is 9 times out of 10 similar to that. And then three, you create the incentive for both parties to stay, right? So the way the referral process, in my opinion, looked for nurses was, hey, I refer Shamika, I get a flat rate of maybe $300. But the difference would be, instead of doing it that way, hey, I refer Shamika, and for every hour that I work, Shamika gets 50 cents. And then having a program like that allows your people to make just a little bit of extra money. It doesn't have to be like anything that's exorbitant, extreme. And it's also something that you can build into your pay package or your bill rate. So if you're going to offer this type of referral program, you can add the extra $2 or $3 in the bill rate so that you don't have any issues as far as what your take home would be or what the final amount that you would receive as an actual agency owner. And I've seen just a handful of companies that do it, but that's more beneficial to a NOSA, because if, say, for whatever reason, I leave the organization, maybe or maybe not, will the other person leave if they too also did a referral? Because leaving means that, hey, I'm not only missing out on any money, any referral money that I'm getting, it also means that if the other person did it, they would miss out too. So it wouldn't kind of create that domino effect that I've seen, and you guys definitely chime in, Brittany or Jordan, if you're on the call, might be experiencing. A good example is, I don't think that Crucial does it, but a good example of how it could work or how it has worked, hey, Diana, is that if you guys remember 2020, when Crucial and Favorite and all those organizations had so many people applying for jobs and wanting to work, or you probably even experienced this as yourself as an agency owner, where you had so many needs and so many opportunities to fill. Many times those people would come, but you're coming and you're bringing a friend or two or three along, and kind of being able to offer that person the referral, one, alleviates that kind of some of the legwork when it comes to picking a recruiter or having a recruiter, but it also could benefit in kind of creating, hi, Derek, more established staff that want to stay. So if I'm a staff member and you have opportunities that fit my needs, and then you're saying, hey, when you bring in a referral, we'll pay you $1 or whatever the amount is for referring that person versus a flat rate, then they're more incentivized to stay and, kind of continue beyond that initial first contract. So you guys can feel free to chime in if you have any experiences as far as like how you pay your recruiters or what amounts, or you're paying commission and salary. I will say salary only, I would steer away from. No different than only doing salary for individuals who are doing cold calling. It can be a little bit tricky and costly, because it becomes a situation of how do you determine that they're doing the work? You're paying them $10, $12, $15 an hour. They're saying they're doing the work or placing the calls. You may even see it happening, but what you're looking for as far as a result is a person in the seat, a person taking the job. And if you're paying someone hourly, you won't see that. you may or may not see that. Like, of course, most hourly people might do that, but hourly and commission-based people tend to do it better, especially around the recruiting, sales, and marketing in that temporary space. So that's just some of my thoughts on it. You know, I'm definitely willing to hear anybody else's thoughts or how they do it. I think as 2023 goes on, we'll see some other new industry trends come along that allow you to really see some of the changes, which I think we saw during the pandemic for COVID rates and things of that nature. So Ashlyn is saying, typically with referrals, most agencies pay out referrals once a nurse or referral has worked a certain amount of hours, completed a contract. For example, Jane referred Lisa. Lisa goes to the contract once she works a certain amount of hours or completes a contract, Jane will receive a referral. Right. So Ashlyn, that's what I was saying. So that was what we saw. That's been what traditionally it's been done. But I have seen some agencies that do it a little bit different, that allows for more flexibility and can help smaller agencies with recruiting staff and retaining it. Now, have you had any issues with disputes? Example, Sally worked 24 hours normally, she does 40, but the referral being paid has the issue because it's not the norm. It can happen. I think the people that have used it, the people have done the model where you pay the referee instead of a lump sum, you pay them per hour that the person they referred works. I think it would be more about, Brittany, I think it would be more about educating the staff. So like, this is kind of creating it as a program about this is how it works. So if the person doesn't work the 40, you don't get paid for the 40. And then if the person works 24, you know, you're getting paid per hours of the person working. So it could be some issue. And that will be where you would want to kind of have them sign and really have an understanding of the policies and the process. And you could have another platform that kind of tracks it too. But yeah, work 24 hours normally, she does 40, but the referral is being paid. Okay. Yeah, I think that's something that is fixable, but in some instances, people are going to dispute no matter what. So thank you guys. Right. So actually we were talking about, and I'm not sure if you jumped in, but we were really talking about what we see out there. What are some alternatives? Should you do only salary, or should you do salary and commission, and how that works? So of course I said salary and commission is kind of the norm, but one of the questions I had asked was around how much do you think your average healthcare staffing recruiter is making in a salary, with salary and commissions. Right, for medium to large size. And the answer from the video that I saw was they make about $300,000, just because their commissions, some of the structure for their commissions is based on the hour. Right. So you're saying salary plus an hourly commission. Right. So I'm just saying, instead of giving the recruiter that, it might be worth exploring giving that money actually to your employees in that way as a referral. So, okay. If you have one that you can share, feel free to share it here, or you can drop it once the video drops. That's fine. But yeah, I was saying that's what we see typically is the salary plus an hourly commission. And one of the comments I had made was that sometimes when you do salary plus an hourly commission and the individual leaves your organization, they take all their people with them. So that can be a little bit costly and tricky for small agencies to have somebody do that. And there's really not much you can do around that. You can definitely implement non-competes, but there's, you know, it's one of those things where, is it really worth it? Honestly. So is it worth going down that road around the non-competes. If the person left, went to another agency, and then all of your people went with the recruiter. So just some different ways you can do it, some ways that make sense, but a lot of the numbers would just really be based on how much your organization is budgeted. But salary plus commission is probably the most common way that I've seen recruiters in the healthcare, temporary healthcare space being paid. What that looks like for you can look different, but I would also think about, like I said, thinking outside of the box when it comes to stuff like that, because when we think about who your biggest, so if you think about it like this, so who is your biggest source of employees as far as how you're getting them, kind of how you're able to pipeline them? And that would depend on your agency. So are most of your agency or employees coming through referrals, which is, I think they say it's like 30 to 40% of healthcare staffing is referrals. So if that's the case, then why would I pay a recruiter who might give me people, and that's fine, but I get more people from staff referrals than using that? Right. So Ashlyn's saying that's so true. They could invest the money back into their nurses and redesign for commission structure for the recruiters, like a $50 per lock or $20 per lock, plus the regular salary, and set the commission to be paid out on a monthly basis. Right. So it's just, changing the structure, thinking outside of the box, really thinking about where your source of applicants and employees are coming from. From what I've read, it's about 30 to 40% of employees are referrals to healthcare staffing agency business owners. And you guys, I'll put up a poll later, but you guys can verify if that's the case. We'll see what the poll looks like when I put it up. But with that being the case, there's no need. There's really not, it's not of benefit. It's not of the most benefit to a small agency owner who may have limited budget to then take that money and kind of pour it into 1 to 2 recruiters, hoping that they produce results. So I think it's something that you should play around with, Brittany and Jordan, who asked the question about it, and make it make sense, but don't only focus on doing it based on the way it's been traditionally done. I know there's a lot of marketplace, and I think there's a presentation that we shared in a group from Staffing Referral. So there's a lot of marketplaces that are accommodating to different types of programs for people to be paid for referrals, that it's not something that you actually have to manage. So I think that's sometimes people's concern is like, oh, if I add another program, then I'm going to be responsible for kind of managing and facilitating it. But there's definitely companies, and if the post isn't in there about staffing referrals, I'll share the presentation that I got from them. But definitely think about it more of, hey, I have this amount of money. How can I use it most effectively to bring on more people? And like Ashlyn says, like I'm sure you all know, give it back to the nurses. If you give it back to the nurses, you'll get probably a better return on your investment. You'll also probably get more quality nurses, like the example I gave earlier, where I was saying that if I'm a nurse working and I'm referring someone that I've worked with or that I know, 9 times out of 10, that person is similar to me. So they're going to be on time and professional and know their job and know how to work as a team member, willing to jump in, understand the travel space or the per diem space. So it eliminates some of that newness that, sometimes recruiters don't get. Working on the floor is its own unique process, and working as a traveler is even more unique. So having people that get it help you to make sure that you're getting like a right fit. So any other questions, guys? This has been a great conversation. We have to continue the conversation. Any questions? We're also streaming on our YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. It's @THENOSAGRP. This has been a great topic. Hopefully we'll continue the conversation. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch the beginning feel free to check us out on replay, #replay, where we'll have some of the conversation. You'll see some of the comments and information from others. I gave a couple of updates in the beginning about what's been happening in the group for you guys, and a couple of events. Tomorrow, we'll be doing office hours, and maybe Brittany and Jordan, if you guys want to jump in, we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more if you would like to, as far as creating a pay package or proper pay package, or an effective or competitive pay package for recruiters and your agency, and kind of thinking through what makes sense depending on how many people we get. So we'll be doing office hours tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, from 12 to 1, just to kind of give people an idea. Office hours is just an opportunity for you guys to do what we just did here. Hey, I got a question. I want to know what your thoughts are. And one of the nice things is that I'm giving my take, but Ashlyn and we have Nina, we have Diana, we have a couple of other people. They too can give their take and experiences, because one of the nice things about our industry is it looks different in different places. So that's what I enjoy about either doing the lives or the office hours, is that you can ask the questions and other people may have insight or follow-up questions or experiences to share as well. On April 19th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, we're also going to be doing a session on trade credit insurance. So I decided I'm not going to go into depth. If you don't know what it is, join it. It's posted in the group. It has something to do with funding companies. It's not about payroll funding, but it has a correlation. So if you want to learn more, join us on April 19th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you can't join, feel free to drop questions on that particular event post. And of course, the video will drop into the group once we completed it. And then finally, I shared a couple of posts in the group that I'd love for you guys to engage with around doing bill rate transparency. There is a website or Google form that's out there that's creating transparency around pay for nurses. I just so happened to get an invite to check it out. And I think that would be something great for us to do. And essentially what it is it's a, I think it's a Google form. I'm not sure. It's not a website, but it's a form where people are able to put how much you're getting paid for different specialties in different areas. So off the top of my head, I can't remember the individual that's doing it, but I think doing something similar here might be a benefit to people, just to kind of give things a range. So here it'll look a little bit different, just because we won't create a living document for a long period of time, but we'll kind of give it a 3-month range for people to participate, and then kind of tally everything up to share with the group, kind of like what we did with the directory. So that, and then also I attended the session, and a couple of other NOSAs, shout out to Crystal, attended as well, a session with the Small Business Administration where they were talking about subcontracting. So they have some new tools coming out that'll help small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses with the process of getting access to federal contracts and kind of maneuvering through the steps. If you are in the process of doing it, or even working with other subs or primes. So it was a really good presentation. I don't think I can share the presentation, but I can definitely share the link and some of the highlights from it. And one of the things was there's a new system that they brought out that's specifically designed around the small business space, that's geared to help you with finding the contracts, finding primes, finding other subs, seeing set-asides, and kind of like a one-stop shop, which is something that we've all talked a lot about. So I posted that, I believe it's fedbid.com, but it's in the group, it's in features. So check that out. And then probably later on, either this month or next month, we'll actually do a video, because I plan on signing up. I think it's fedspeed.com or fedbid.com. Help me. It's late, guys. Help me. Fedbid.com. And I'll kind of share the steps to get through that process. And the initial sign up is free. So it is free. But then, of course, they have some paid options as well if you want more access than kind of your generic access. And one of the things that I really liked, because the session was like 2 hours, but it was worth it, is that when you want to find out, like say if Brittany's agency had a federal contract and I wanted to find out how much she was awarded for that contract. And usually you have to go to USA Spending, you have to go to a couple of different websites to kind of bring together some of the information. All of it's on that one website. If I wanted to find out who was a prime on an existing contract, it's on that website. Now you do have to do some searching, but I think it's beneficial so that you don't have to keep going out to other sites like USA Spending. You don't have to go to sam.gov. And then they also have a feature, and this is just a quick highlight, where you're able to see some of the contracts at the state and local levels that are specific to small business. So the website or webpage or whatever is specifically geared for small business owners. So that's also one of the nice features. So there's a bunch of other features. Like I said, I'll share the contact information for the SBA representative if you want to reach out to see if she's going to host another session. I would encourage you guys, especially if you're thinking about jumping into that federal or local space with government agencies, to attend, because this could really be a huge help and a game changer. They've been given specific money, set aside monies to bring forth this initiative. So they're there to help. So, definitely make sure that you get the information, and it's free. The presentation is free. The access is free. You do have to sign up. So I'm all about getting connected to free resources and sharing it with you guys. Okay. All right, Nina, I'll let you know. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight on YouTube and on Facebook. We'll be doing more sessions as we go into May like this to kind of allow you guys to ask questions and get answers to some of your burning questions. Okay, Derek, both of you guys just send me an instant message, and I'll drop the link here. Or I'll drop the link once the live ends so you can check it out. But probably tonight or tomorrow, I'll kind of walk through to see what that process looks like and give you a little bit of insight on the steps. So again, thanks for being a part of our community. Thanks for helping us grow. We're officially on the end of over 7,000 members throughout the United States. We continue to grow. We're excited for you guys. And the last update, so if you didn't get a chance to check it out, I'm going to drop it here. NOSACon has been postponed until 2024. We want to make it bigger and better, so we're going to push it out until 2024. I think that'll allow us to give you guys more added value to your experiences for the weekend that you'll be hanging out with us. At NOSACon, more details will come out this summer about what we plan to do. I'm excited, even though we were trying to get it together for this year, but I'm excited for a little bit of delay to allow us to tweak some things so that you're able to participate. We're looking forward to doing a virtual option and a couple of other things that I think might be a benefit and fun for you guys for that weekend. So for those who may not know. All right, thanks guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and I will be chatting with you.